Alright guys, Hardware Hound here. We have made it to CES and we made our first stop at Corsair's booth. And so we got quite a few things to look at, so we're going to start with the cases. So right here at the end, we've got Carbide Series 270R. Just a nice little, looks like a pretty good budget case, but very solid. Nice little side glass window. You know, pretty good entry level case. Features get a little bit better as we move on. So let's go ahead and go over this next one. So Corsair went ahead and had one of their modders make a Mirror's Edge Spec Alpha, and it looks fantastic. I mean, just you got the various designs and stuff. Mario behind the camera there loves Mirror's Edge, so I'm sure he was eating this one up. So these are all cases that have released in the previous year, so we don't really have like a crazy, like fresh, never seen before yet, but it's still awesome to be able to cover these things and see them in person. So once we get here, this is where it starts really getting interesting. So this Crystal Series 460X is one of the ones that they had in the last couple quarters. And we've got tempered glass front panel, tempered glass side panel, and tempered glass is, I still think, one of the best things that's been happening in cases. It just makes the lighting work great. This thing has built-in lighting and fan controllers that you can control through buttons on the case. And so if I just press these buttons here, you're going to see different lighting modes, different colors. You can do different, just all kinds of different things. I'm going to keep mashing buttons until I see something that, ooh, here's one of those. There was a mode in here that was pretty cool, but since I don't really have a good grasp on every mode, you know, I've just kind of pressed more buttons. So everything is looking really awesome on this case. Moving on to this next one. This is a very huge elite builder case. This Carbide Series 570 RGB has the same kind of LED controls, but every panel on the outside of this thing is tempered glass, including the rear panel. So you can actually see your cable management. If you want to show that you are a perfectionist with your PC build, this has got to be the case. I mean, the tempered glass panels look excellent, and on top of all of that, you can show off every ounce of your build. And you know what? I get it. There's a certain amount of pride of when you do a cable management job perfect that you kind of hate putting a panel over it. So I think that's awesome that Corsair did it. I also love that they've got really good radiator mounts right here on this front panel. They've got two of the MSI hybrid liquid coolers here that have the all-in-one pre-built loop attached to the card, and you've got plenty of room to mount those things right here in the front. You could even probably throw a third one up here in triple SLI if you had the cards for it. So I really am appreciating that we were seeing more and more cases accommodate these kind of builds. And you know what? I would totally love to do this if I win the lottery or win it big here in Vegas, but I don't think I'll have time to do that. Of course, you have room too for your CPU cooler up top, so this is just excellent, excellent design. Gorgeous, love it. And then we come down here to our last one. The Carbide Series, of course, this one was announced last year as well, but the Air 740 here. And we've got the dual chamber where you can put your PSU and extra cable management and extra hard drive space in the back. But then right here, all airflow, all liquid cooling. Choice is yours. And you can see here we've got a radiator mounted on the bottom, radiator here in the front, radiator on top. So if you're a liquid cooling enthusiast, you're going to have lots of cooling potential, especially when you're throwing two cards in there and your CPU. This looks like an entire chipset block to me, actually, covering the VRMs and everything on that board. So yeah, great. Obviously airflow in this thing's probably going to be super phenomenal. I think airflow being right here close to your GPUs, especially if you want to keep it air, if you want to use like your triple slot coolers, having a couple of fans blowing straight up into your cards are probably going to really help, especially for those of us crazy people who like to do Crossfire SLI with two air-cooled cards, because, well, I've got two R9 290s in Crossfire. You need some good airflow to keep those guys running smooth. So this case would accommodate that excellently. And unfortunately, the case I'd gotten was before this one released. Otherwise, this would have been on my short list. So there's cases. They look awesome. I'm tempered glass. I'm all about it. Corsair doing a great job here. We're going to keep covering some more stuff here in a second. All right, moving on to their power supplies. Nothing huge rework on Corsair's end this year, but they do have a couple of really neat features that are still great and definitely want to point out while I'm here. So first off, we've got a whole setup of now display-ready custom sleeve PSU cables. These are 3rd generation. They also are using paracord sleeving versus the previous nylon sleeving. That's supposed to be a little bit nicer. I haven't gotten to play around with a ton of sleeved PSU cables yet due to my schedules and my finances, so I will let you guys be the judge of that. But they do look really nice, and we'll look at a closer look here in a second. But on top of that, we are getting a refresh of Corsair's kind of budget end units that I hate to even say budget end because they're really nice PSUs. In fact, I was always going to the Corsair CX series whenever I was doing a build for somebody. I love those PSUs. I feel like they're just really solid, and I love their cables. They're just really easy to, when you got a really tight cable management space, I understand that some people aren't a fan of ribbon cables, but when you're buying kind of budget cases, these ribbon cables are really easy to manage. So now they're upgrading that line to the TXM series. So we've got a semi-modular design. Looking at this thing now, semi-modular may not be my favorite, but I am totally okay with semi-modular when the only 2 non-modular cables is the motherboard and the CPU. And that's exactly what's going on here. So Corsair is doing an excellent job with that. So that way, everything else is your choice. I love that. So we've got gold-rated power supplies. Every capacitor is Japanese now, so they've upgraded that to make it a little better quality. And I think that's a great move. Keeping the same price point. Also, operating temperature of up to 50 degrees versus 40 on the previous. So this is just some great improvements on already what I think is a great little unit. So I'm really excited about that. Moving a little bit farther down, we have the new HX series. Now, you know about the HXI probably if you follow Corsair's PSU, which is their platinum rated power supplies that have Corsair Link software control and monitoring on them. Well, these guys decide to ditch that software control for people, and I get it, not everybody is really into monitoring their PSU with software, but you still get platinum rated efficiency and you save about 10 to 20 bucks, and I think that's kind of worth it. It'd be nice if that price saved you a little bit more, but you know what, when you're buying a platinum PSU, if you don't have to pay for a feature that you don't need, that's kind of nice. Now, you might remember that the HXI series had an option to go from multiple to single rails. Now, if you ask Johnny Guru, he's going to tell you multiple rails are the no-brainer, but I get it. Not everybody is on board with that. Well, because this isn't software controlled, what they do is they do have a switch that you can choose whether you want to use multiple or single. I think that's fantastic. Just, giving people option after option is great. So this is looking good. So finally, let's go ahead. Here's these sleeved cables with the nylon and everything. So here you see these things will come with the oh man, I forget what they call these things, but things that keep them all nice and straight and stuff. Everything is nylon braided so that there's no heat shrink right here at the connector. So this is very, very clean at each end. Now you might be saying, well, wait a minute, there's a little bit of heat shrink here in the middle. That's because they have a little capacitor here that helps further stabilize the power going right into the PSU so that you've got extra stabilization here and then even further stabilization. They put it midway, even though that's not as good as having it right up next to the connector where it goes into your board, it's still closer than coming quite from the actual unit, so it should help ideally give you really, really clean power. And when you're trying to push the ultimate limits of overclocking, I can see that being very useful. But maybe a little overkill for just your average overclocks and just your day-to-day use. But still, nice, great features, awesome stuff to see. Let's move on to the next section. Guys, I cannot contain any amount of excitement on this. This keyboard is amazing looking, and every keyboard has to learn lessons from this keyboard. And I know, maybe you're thinking I'm just over-exaggerating, but you know what? There's no such thing as too much RGB. This keyboard will make your computer go faster. It is scientific fact. Corsair told me so. Okay, maybe they didn't tell me so, but I'm going to say it. This will make your computer faster, man. So this K95 Platinum, not only do they have the speed switches, which when I'm feeling these switches, I mean, they feel like they're just right there. Now granted, without having an actual game or an actual typing test to feel that actuation in person, it's a little bit, I'm taking a little bit of guesswork, but these switches just feel very, very tight. Like you're going to have just hair trigger, it's going to react to just the slightest press. And, you're playing a MOBA, Battle Right, League of Legends, Dota 2, you're probably going to notice that. For those of you, though, who, maybe like me, you've got a little bit of gaming, but you also have to go back to a lot of typing, do a lot of work from your desk. Sometimes these switches may not feel quite right. They also are going to offer this in a brown switch as well, which I was like, that's fantastic, because I would totally do brown switches just because I'm not, I've tried to play to esports gamer on TV, but I really am not an esports gamer. I barely ELO level. So this keyboard looks fantastic. They've got an RGB line right here on the top that just gives you extra lighting, and it is fantastic looking. And it's not just that. They're trying to really give you you bought a super expensive mechanical keyboard, they want you to have the whole experience. So what they did is when you slide this thing out of the box, you've got this really nice embossed logo here on the front. So it's already feeling like you bought something important. And then as you are opening it up, this thing just slides up, and then you get this nice waft of new keyboard smell right in your face, because you just lift this lid up and it just looks really professional, very nice. This is excellent, really, really great design. So Corsair, their peripheral game is just top notch. I love it. This is awesome to see. Let's just take a little stroll right down here. Now, most of these mice you're going to recognize. We're going to talk about this MMO mouse here in a second when we go to another section. But Corsair announced this mouse last year. It's a nice little budget optical sensor. Now, if you followed any of my reviews, I'm a huge fan of optical sensors. You don't necessarily need 16K DPI, but if you can at least get around 5 to 8K DPI, you're still doing really well. This little guy fits great in the hand. The wheel just scrolls very nicely. The clicks on the button feels just perfect, not too soft, not too hard. I'm already I'd have to put it through a game test to really say, but I already feel like this is an excellent mouse that, especially if you're on a really tight budget, but you want something that's got some good gaming performance on it, I think this is a winner right here. So really like this little mouse here. Let's go ahead and come around behind and take a look at what we got going on here. This is a Star Wars Rogue One custom mod PC case, and it just looks fantastic. Of course, we watched Rogue One last night, so we're already in the Star Wars mood, and we loved it. But yeah, you've got just a little bit of a. I'm gonna pop this lid again because this is fantastic. So once you swing open this door, you can kind of see that there's a little bit of a painting here with AT-ATs and the Death Star in the background, and it's all lighted up red. Looks fantastic. That's just gorgeous, gorgeous case. So that's great. Let's go over here to down the other side where we've got a setup going on. I'm gonna have a seat because I've been working really hard at CES already. Not really. I'm gonna have a seat because Corsair is working on a gaming chair, and I gotta get me one of these. This thing's really comfortable. But right here, look at this full setup. You got your K95 with all the RGB here. The Corsair RGB mouse pad. They've got this new MMO mouse. It's familiar. They've redesigned it just a little bit. They've got a full 12 keys on it. They also have a tactile feedback on the 5 key, so you can feel that little bump and know where your thumb's at. I think this is great because while there's a lot of gamers who may be trying to be professional esports gamers and playing every day and they have that muscle memory, most of us, we can never keep the muscle memory because we have to work or we have to go to school or we have other things in life. So tactile feedback helps us, scrubs, do a little bit better on our online games. So nice, excellent looking MMO mouse. Also, there's one other really important thing about everything here. So on the K95, this mouse, they have hardware. I'm trying to remember what the actual term is. It's like a hardware memory, but basically what it's doing is, I think they called it, was it hardware acceleration? Might have been that. No, I can't remember, but that's all right. Every profile, your macro keys, your lighting profiles, all of your settings are now stored in memory in the keyboard. So you can just set your profiles, unplug the keyboard, take it anywhere, plug it in, and everything goes with you. No more, well, now I got to re-download software. Now I've got to reset all my profiles. No, oh man, I don't have time to set profiles. Well, I'll just make do. No, it's all there. It comes with you. It comes in there. The mouse, you can set up to 3 of them. So just fantastic. It's just features like that that I feel like, you know, we're not throwing stuff out there that's just to throw features out there. We're doing stuff that gamers say, hey, we need. So that's just fantastic. Oh, and of course, I got reminded here that we have a really nice high 16K DPI setting on the optical sensor. Probably, I think a PixArt 3360, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So really high DPI as well. But the other stuff is fantastic. So let's go ahead and move on and finish up with one more thing that we got to see, and then we can start seeing more of CES. So this is the thing that could not wait to see at CES. Not that I haven't already been super excited about everything else, but this was the thing I already kind of knew about from some Twitter teases. We have RGB memory. Now, this stuff here is their RGB that's a solid color. You got blue, red, I think it also comes in a white. But the RGB LEDs is the stuff that is what dreams are made of, because everything in a PC should be RGB. I'm thoroughly convinced of this. So Corsair did do full RGB LED in the RAM. Of course, the big thing about this is there's no external connectors. You don't have to plug in to a 4-pin. You get to just control it through the RAM slot and power it through the RAM slot, and that's fantastic. I love seeing cables get cut down more and more where it can be. So this is great. Here's the other thing though. When you're putting LEDs on RAM, from what Corsair just told me, what you can have is you can have some noise that can affect the frequencies and make it so that you can't push really high overclocks. So Corsair's engineering team did a really excellent job of trying to make sure that those LED frequencies wouldn't affect the RAM timings. And as it showed me here, they ended up with up to over a 4200 megahertz clock on that RAM as a result. So that is fantastic. So yeah, looks like great overclocking RAM. Of course, Corsair Vengeance has always had a good reputation anyway. So here we can control the RAM. You can set different profiles, different lighting modes. You can do various breathing effects. You can do just smooth transitions. Everything there just nice and controlled. The software is still in beta right now, but the software is working and the RAM is compatible with the current Intel chipsets and current Intel motherboards. I asked about the X370 chipset, and well, of course, it's not officially released, so we can't say that it's compatible yet there. But I'm sure that's only a matter of time because everyone's going to be making sure that they get stuff working as soon as that releases. So no worries there. And then if you come over here, you can see that they got a nice little bench system here with the LED RAM with some different profiles. Looks fantastic. I think that having RAM with RGBs next to like a RGB CPU cooler, it adds such a nice touch. Computers have never looked better, and they're only getting better as time goes on. So I think we've got everything Corsair here that we can cover. So this has been fantastic. I think that Corsair set a really high bar. I got a lot to look forward to though. We're gonna keep covering CES. So stick with me and we'll go on to the next venue. Hardware Hound here. We have some more stuff to look at now. I am over with ECS, taking a look at some of their products. So we're going to highlight a couple things. Now, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say hesitant. I was going to come and check out everything, but I was wondering what are they going to do now? I've seen some things. I've seen where they're going. I was hoping they're going to keep heading in a certain direction, and they are, and this is awesome. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and look at what we got going on here. Now, granted, this isn't exactly full overclocking level, crazy performance, RGB lighting, all that fun stuff, but I love these little guys because if you don't have your entire TV system going through your PC and saving yourself $100, $150 a month, then you should be. And these little Leva PCs are great for that. We've got just nice little connection, HDMI, Ethernet, we have USB connectivity, just all kinds of great little features in a super small form factor that you could just easily run. Now there's different types of them. You'd want to get something that might have a little bit of graphics, you know, a little bit more designed towards the integrated get graphics. For instance, the KB Lake that actually has that. But they even have things that would work well for cash registers and bank run computers that don't take a lot of space. A lot of different options. But you could grab one of these guys for a decent price, probably around 2-3 months of your TV bill, scrap your TV bill altogether, and then just run a PC on your TV. I actually do that with the laptop now, but one of these guys would be great because not only are they just super small, would fit on your entertainment center great anyway, but they even have the VESA mounting so that you could just slap it on the back of your monitor, back of your TV. Great for work environments, great for like a simple home theater, you know, where you're not really planning on doing anything but streaming. These things would work excellently for that. So these are great little powerful devices. They're really clean looking. Got the Leva branding. Excellent job. I like what they're doing with these, so I would definitely check them out, especially if you're like, you know what, I'm sick of paying DirecTV $160. What would it take to just stream Amazon and Hulu and Netflix to my TV and ditch my TV bill altogether? Well, you got a great option here. But the thing that I think you guys are going to be much more excited about, at least I hope you are, because I am, is the fact that ECS is continuing their lightsaber lineup of motherboards with the Z270 chipset from Intel, the new KB Lake processors. So we've got underneath, I know it's hard to see it because we got nice big CPU cooler and GTX 1080 and all that fun stuff here. But there's a lightsaber powering this system right here. And so this lightsaber is doing a couple of things that I thought was really awesome. When ECS announced the first lightsaber, I was already really excited. I felt like they did an excellent first job in introducing something into the gaming market. And you know how I am. Competition, competition, competition. I want to see more people forcing everybody to do more so that we have options to put in our PCs. So lightsaber has RGB LED effects and various lighting that looks great. Of course, we just watched Rogue One last night, so you're not going to have any complaints from me naming your motherboard a lightsaber. I asked about putting a crossguard lightsaber lighting effect on it. Disney might not appreciate that, so okay, but still, lightsaber, I mean, who doesn't want to own a lightsaber? So some of the things about this board, it's one thing to have a name, it's one thing to have some lights, but here's the thing, what are we going to do that's going to actually matter? What's going to be things that will give us some performance? And so one of the things that they mentioned is this is going to be the first board to use the Killer Ethernet E2500. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, Killer? That's kind of hit or miss sometimes. Yeah, I understand that. But the new 2500 Killer really did a huge redesign, and based off of some preliminary reviews and some mentions on it, sounds like they might have fixed a lot of those lag issues. And if you can improve your gaming lag, that is certainly worth it. So I think that I've used Killer before. I never had any real serious problems with them. So I personally don't have any gripes about them. But if they redesigned it and if the reviewers are coming back well with it, then that's awesome. I think that anything that's going to help reduce gaming lag is worth it. Now, here's the other thing, though, that I really like that ECS is doing. On their boards, they have different color-coded USB ports. Now, normally you're like, okay, black is 2.0, blue is 3.0, 3.1, whatever, who cares? But ECS took this just a little step further, and maybe it's just a minor step, maybe it doesn't matter, but to me, I think this is awesome. So they've got, of course, your USB 3.1 that's blue, but then they have a red USB, and what they've done is they've stabilized the power so that if you're plugging in your cell phone or charging your devices, your USB devices off of it, it's trying to give you a cleaner, more stable power so you're not ruining your batteries with amperage blows or anything like that. I think that's actually a really good feature because, I mean, every night from CES, I'm plugging my phone into my computer and letting it charge up. So having like a dedicated charging port does not sound bad at all to me. It sounds great. The other thing, though, is they've got a gaming port. These things are yellow, and what these are doing is they are doing just to the millisecond precision polling so that they are not missing one movement from your mouse or one click from your keyboard. I get it. Probably don't miss a lot anyway. But especially when you're getting into these 16,000 DPI optical mice, having as much receiving polling data as possible on the USB part ensures that your mouse isn't getting bottlenecked in any way, shape, or form. Considering that Corsair just showed a mouse that can adjust DPI to one level after 100, well, I think that USB port is going to take advantage of that kind of mouse. So these are some really awesome features. I love what ECS is doing with their lightsaber. I think they are making some good options for gamers. And on top of that, we even have a motherboard that is a mini ITX that has a lot of these same features and will allow users to have something that's more affordable and fits in a very nice small form factor while giving you that higher end performance. And they also did some things with their VRMs that I thought was interesting. And I get it, you have to have reviews to really do the comparisons, but they have this flash digi-power system on their motherboards. And it's basically a typical digital VRM system, but they added some extra transistors to it to help stabilize that power. It helps it switch in real time so that everything is switching immediately. And then also, it's helping to stabilize that power so if you're really pushing your overclocks, everything's staying more steady. Now, I get it. You need the reviews to really prove that stuff, but just hearing about it excites me, and I kind of like it. I think that what ECS is doing is great. They are putting some great stuff in there. We're going to keep covering more stuff at CES now, so I will catch you soon. Hardware Hound here, guys. So got something that I guess isn't computer hardware, but it's pretty awesome. So we all know 3D printers. They've been around, but this isn't your typical 3D printer because this right here is your filament. This is just a standard roll of steel wire that you can buy from a hardware store, like any store. Go to a Lowe's, go to Home Depot, grab some wire. That is your filament for this 3D printer. It is a metal 3D printer. And so, I mean, I get it, maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea, but there is so many modders out there that they're making custom badges, custom plates, they're redesigning their cases, having to build a bracket. You can do that stuff out of plastic, but man, if you can throw something metal in there, it makes your case look nicer, it makes your build look cleaner. There's just a lot, I think there's a lot of potential in this. I just wanted to point this out. So yeah, we've got Ability 3D, and they've got this 3D printer. The cost is under $3,000. Now I get it, that seems like a lot in some cases, but in a 3D printing world, that is an excellent price considering that people who do this kind of 3D printing with metal typically cost around $500,000 to $1 million. And they are in a small factor. And you can plug this into your house and run it off of your outlet, which surprised me. You can do objects that are up to 8 by 8 by 8 inches. So, I don't know guys, you guys who do tons of modding and have your own shops, I have a feeling you might want one of these in your shop to do some custom stuff to your motherboards. I mean, I'm thinking you could 3D print some awesome VRM heat sinks. You could redo your badges, your heat sinks on your chipsets, and redo the logos. This has got some potential. So, I don't know guys, you're calling it, but felt like it's worth checking it out. So, ability3d.com, you can check them out, get some more info on this, but I just wanted to say something. Catch you soon. All right guys, end of CES day one. I'm at my last spot. I'm about ready to call it a day before we start to throw all the editing. Of course, you'll just see all the after effects of that. But I am here with ViewSonic, and this is going to be a little different. You know, we cover a lot of things that are just gaming and gaming performance and gaming aesthetics and stuff. This isn't going to be quite the usual gaming thing. And I'm not saying that you couldn't use these monitors for gaming. I think they would actually still be fantastic in a lot of ways. But this isn't what they're designed for. But what they are designed for, I think, is fantastic. So ViewSonic has multiple panels, and they are trying to really showcase professional content creators and help them be able to get monitors that help them make that content better without having to break the bank, without having to spend $3,000 on a monitor. So we've got quite a few options here. First off, we've got the really thin bezels, you know, your typical IPS panels, a lot of normal stuff like that. Here we have a full QHD, or UHD, I believe. QHD, UHD, is one or the other. Either way, 4K monitor that is a 32-inch, gives you lots of surface area to see, Really nice color designs and stuff, but we're going to get into that a little bit more. Now, coming over here, we have a curved display. And one of the things that we were discussing, me, Mario, and ViewSonic here, is the fact that curved TVs kind of don't make sense because you've got to sit right in front of it for the curved display to work. But this guy looks fantastic when you're sitting right in front of it. So here we've got a nice 38-inch curved screen monitor to give you just huge surface area to be able to do that kind of editing stuff. Now, I'm not a super strong editor, so there's some things I may not be as strong on. Here we have a 27-inch, and this guy, you know, we've got a 1440p monitor, good quality, good thin bezel, so if you want to put two of these side by side. Another thing that ViewSonic did is they've redesigned some of their input stuff in their menu, so it's just way more intuitive, a little bit easier to click through it, looks a lot nicer. Really like that. So at this point you're probably thinking, what? You're just talking about monitors, that's everything you heard, what are you talking about? Alright, well let's talk about what ViewSonic is really doing here, because this is the big deal, guys. So we got this little box here, and it says it's a professional display calibration. Now you guys who do heavy video editing and art, you understand that having consistency and having the same colors all the time is super important. And that's what this guy's going to do for you. This is a monitor calibration. And here's the thing. This isn't software calibration. Now, it uses software to help make it easier, but it is not software calibration. What this thing does is it'll measure the colors on your screen. It'll send a signal to your PC that is connected to this monitor so that your PC can automatically configure the monitor to the right colors hardware-wise. And there's 3 profiles that you can even save in here that'll do that. This is just really great color accuracy, and if you're somebody who does heavy amounts of content all the time and you have your monitor on for long periods, after a month you need to be like recalibrating. Well, you can just recalibrate. And here's the other thing. The device is external and you can calibrate any monitor. Now if you have a ViewSonic monitor, it can automatically set that configuration in the monitor hardware, but if you want to get a second monitor, you don't need a whole nother calibration. Here's the thing, this little kit is going to be around $200 roughly. You know, not like a, can't say that's a dead set price, but around there. You know, if you get some more professional monitors that have built-in hardware calibration, like on a menu on the screen, sometimes you're looking at $3,000. And here you're looking at around a $500 range monitor that you can get really professional quality with. As always, ViewSonic has great displays, great color accuracy, and various things going for them anyway. But this calibration thing is fantastic. Shoot, even though if you're playing games and you just want realistic skin tones, well, there you go. Maybe that's a little bit excessive for buying a calibration kit. But if you want to, you could do it, and you could do it at a pretty fantastic cost. But I think you content creators really need to keep an eye on this stuff. So ViewSonic's got some really awesome stuff here. Let's take a look at a couple other things, and then we will get to move on till tomorrow. Alright, we guys got 2 more monitors here. Now these guys here got a couple other neat things. Now this monitor has been color calibrated to Adobe. So for those of you guys who use Adobe exclusively, this is going to work for you in the color calibration. And so there's a lot there that I am not going to super understand because I'm more of a gamer than an actual content. I know I got videos, but trust me guys, I'm more of a gamer. I just pretend to be an editor on YouTube. But this other monitor here is more of a consumer-based monitor, designed to look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Something that here you look, we've got like a nice little Apple book here that matches perfectly. What's really neat about this monitor is there's only one connector, and it's USB Type-C. And what's nice about it is while you are connected, if you have like a little mobile device connected to this monitor, you can be charging your device through this Type-C port up to 60, I believe it's 60 amps. So that's, you know, really fantastic. It won't charge probably quite as fast as some of the wall chargers, but it does really well. Just one Type-C connector, one little power connector, very nice clutterless design. ViewSonic has some great stuff. Granted, they may not be focusing on the gaming market as much this year, but they've got plenty of gaming products too, so that is nothing that is a problem with them. But I really think that paying attention to the professionals is a great step. I really appreciate it. I think this is going to be awesome for you guys out there who need this kind of stuff, so I'm pretty excited about it. Hope you are too. Anyway, day one, CES, we're going to call it a night. You'll hopefully be seeing this video soon from what I'm actually recording it, but we will be coming back tomorrow, so I will catch you then.